state's medical marijuana laws are sitting on the governor's desk. Hello and happy Friday, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Supporters of the bill say they create better regulations around the making, testing, and selling of medical marijuana. It would also increase the number of registered dispensaries in the state from 8 to 14, and they would no longer have to follow the Department of Health and Human Services public health districts. It also gives towns the power to decide whether they want a medical retail storefront to open that in the community, but it also prevents towns from limiting the number or registered primary caregivers.
This really gives them tools to be able to regulate this program and to provide communities that people want. People are ingesting this, and so it needs to be done in a way that is grown in a way and packaged in a way that is safe.
Now, supporters also expect it will discourage people from buying marijuana on the black market. One of those bills is an emergency amendment, so if it passes, those rules could take effect immediately.
Seems like the marijuana rules are like constantly changing. You never really know what's going on. It could give you a little whiplash.
Right.
Kind of like Maine weather. That's basically what happens there.
This is the easy time of year, though, man. The winter, that's when things get crazy. What do you think of today? You like today?
Yes.
All right,
Big
good.
fan.
It was mild. It was mildish. 85 in Portland, 85 in Wiscasset. Got up to 89 in Freiburg. Humidity, though, high. The dew point in the mid-60s to low 70s. 70 for dew point in Sanford, which is in that oppressive range. I notice most people will notice the humidity after a dew point of 60. So anything higher than that, and it will be noticeably humid, which, by the way, will be the case all the way through this stretch of hot weather coming up, not only the weekend, but into next week. The humidity will be high. We have some sunshine, but we also have some showers and thunderstorms that have popped up. A couple of these a little on the nasty side, largely just lightning and downpours in them. One towards Sebago Lake, a nice line here moving into Ellsworth on the way towards Bar Harbor and Acadia here, and all the way into Jonesport. These showers and storms are in a pretty good line into Richmond as well, another line of showers and thunderstorms. To our south, again, the usual suspects as you see them just to the north of Sebago there, and one to the south, probably splitting the uprates on Portland. All right, we'll talk about the weekend forecast. It looks good. If you have next week off and you took it off because it's summer, you will not be disappointed. We'll talk about that, guys, in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thank you. 5 counts of first-degree murder for the man who police say opened fire in an Annapolis newsroom. Jared Ramos is being held without bond. Police say Ramos will not tell them why he did it, but according to the Capital Gazette, Ramos sued them for defamation of character years ago, and Ramos lost that case.
The 5 people killed in that mass shooting: Rob Hyacin, assistant editor and columnist; Wendy Winters, editor and mother of 4; Rebecca Smith, a sales assistant with a fiance and soon-to-be stepdaughter; Gerald Fishman, an editorial writer and husband to an opera singer; John McNamara, reporter and sports fan.
It is an unimaginable loss for one newsroom, but the staff was determined to put out a paper this morning. This is the front page. The opinion section, however, was left blank. The editors wrote, "Today, we are speechless."
And their commitment to report the news as they saw it inspired journalists across the country. Christina Rex spoke with writers at the Portland Press-Herald today about a mass shooting that hits close to home.
Yeah, Lee and Lindsay, when Sandy Hook and Parkland and Santa Fe happened, we interviewed students. When Aurora happened, we interviewed people going to the movie theater. Las Vegas, concert goers. Now it's happened in a newsroom, so we talked to one another and to our fellow journalists.
It took our breath away.
Unbearable sadness and just realizing that this goes on, and then the fact that it was a newsroom that was the scene of this shooting just made it that much worse. Hit home.
Inside the building, shooting people right now with a shotgun.
It's deeply disturbing for those of us, for the reporters and photographers, for whom this is a life's career. We're invested in our communities. Our job is to be a force for good, to shed light in dark places, to inform our readers what's going on. And when we do that, occasionally it's troubling to people who don't want the truth revealed.
Last night, when they released the names, I realized that one of the reporters killed I had gone to college with. We graduated in 1979 from the University of Maryland, and I remember him. We were not great friends. I don't want to oversell it or anything. We didn't keep in contact after college, but I always remembered that everybody was walking around college with all their books and papers stuffed in backpacks. He had a briefcase.
They were all courageous. As soon as they were able to, they were covering this.
With a laptop propped up on some containers in the back of a pickup truck, and that's where they were working. And they were saying they're going to put out the damn newspaper, and they did put out the damn newspaper.
Good for them, proud of them, and we stand in solidarity with them. And that's what journalists should be doing.
It's not unusual for newspaper reporters to be threatened. It's not unusual for newspaper reporters to have antagonistic relationships with people. And so, in a very sad way, it's almost surprising that it happened now, that it didn't happen before now.
So the Press-Herald received donuts from the Holy Donut this morning and pizza from a reader from lunch. And last night, right after the news broke, Bangor police actually called our Bangor newsroom and offered some extra security if we wanted it. So as journalists here in Maine, we can't possibly imagine what Capital Gazette reporters and editors and everyone in that newsroom, what they're going through right now. But what we can do is we can say thank you to our viewers and to the people who have shown us a little bit of kindness in the wake of this tragedy. Guys?
Nine Dragons Paper Company has crossed its T's and dotted its I's. The Chinese business now officially owns the Rumford Mill. That deal was announced weeks ago, but it was finalized today.
Convicted murderer and rapist Ashton Moores died in prison last night. Officials at the Maine State Prison did not reveal a cause of death. Moores was sentenced to life in prison for the brutal killings of Christiana Simonin in 2009.
Have you ever been hacked? It is not fun. Apparently, a Berwick police officer is feeling the pain right now. His department posted on Facebook saying anyone who receives an email from Officer Poor should not open it.
Okay, big news in the basketball world. Why am I reading this script? Shouldn't you be reading this one?
This is about a future Celtic, and you're wearing green and white. So.
Exactly, so it's perfect. Okay, I guess this is not a surprise, though. LeBron James turns down an option with the Cleveland Cavaliers and his current team. He will be a free agent ahead of the deadline at midnight tonight. Doesn't it sound like I know what I'm talking about?
You have me sold. Okay. Buy my jersey.
All right, well, this is for real now. This weekend, vote responsibly.
A hot Friday night, that's when people are going to come out and party a little bit.
Game wardens are hunting for anyone out on the water and under the influence.
And I'm not sure how your Friday was, but I spent mine playing with puppies. Yep, we've got a dog story coming up. It's a shocker, I know. Stay with us.
Christina, I really like that story.
That was great,
That was really good.
All right, lots of you to say hello to. Marie getting a humdinger of a storm in Lewiston. Love humdinger. You never hear that enough. What's up, Paul and Donna and Christian?
Anne's watching from Daytona Beach.
A lot of people talking about thunder going through the Lewiston area there, Keith. Sunny and 80 in Hawaii, yeah, I bet.
Hawaii?
Sebago is a good place to be. Naples, a great place to be. I love summer in Maine. It's so awesome.
Stormy in Mars Hill. What's everybody doing this weekend? Happy Friday. So I'm very jealous of Lee today, going to hang out with the Satos, as they're called, the Puerto Rican street dogs that they bring over for their forever homes here in Maine. And people are lining up just waiting, you know. When we rescued Lucy a few months, well, last month, I couldn't believe the line waiting, you know, to get the dogs that had just arrived from Georgia at the time. Previously, they were from Puerto Rico.
And so these guys in Waterville, they only had 8 puppies coming. So they put a little thing on Facebook and...
Did they go so fast?
Yeah, I mean, you know, people called immediately. They were available at noon today for the foster parents. This isn't to adopt, this is to foster.
Right.
And at 12:01, the first family was there, ready to go. So
fostering for a dog has got to be, and for a child obviously, has got to be so difficult because I know I'm more familiar with fostering animals, but at the end of the day, you can't keep them. You have to let them go to their forever homes, because if you always kept the dog, then places would lose foster families for these dogs. So a lot of foster families aren't allowed to keep the dogs.
Well, that is not the case in this situation.
Oh, really?
Because that's the tag to my story. Yeah, most of their foster families do wind up keeping.
Oh, I guess it's different then, depending on the shelter and the organization.
Depends. And they have kittens too that they do a lot of. They do a lot of fostering of kittens, and they have 200 animals though. Not all of them keep them. A lot of them will foster until their forever homes are found.
Yeah.
But I think she told me today that they have 200 animals currently being fostered right now, just in the Waterville, out of the Waterville area. So they service a lot of people in that Waterville area.
Wow,
so it's
that's
pretty
amazing.
Cool. So anyway, puppies are coming up. So it's pretty much all you need for your Friday.
Jean says, I foster. Yes, it's hard, but worth it.
The kittens is super hard because you're feeding them with, like, you know, eyedroppers and stuff. Like, you have to be really hands-on.
The wait is over. It's puppy time. Nothing more really needs to be said, but there is actually more.
You can't just say puppies and that's enough? It feels like it should be.
Yeah.
People in the Waterville area had been waiting for today to get here because it is the day that some very special friends arrived from pretty far away. Waterville area. 8 puppies arrived from Puerto Rico this morning. This shelter has been working with Al Sato puppies out of Puerto Rico for 3 years now and has rescued more than 1,000 total puppies, including 300 this year alone.
If they're in need now, we have the kind of relationship where they call and they say, one shelter is too full at the moment, and it's a simple text or even a phone call or a message saying, can you handle another 10 or another 12?
The pups have been put in pairs, and a call went out to anyone willing to foster these furry friends for 2 weeks while they get ready to be adopted.
Well, it's a vital part to this shelter's operation. And the reason being is the animals, when they come in from Puerto Rico, they do need to be quarantined for at least 5 days. And we don't want to leave them alone. They're puppies, and they really do deserve to be in a home.
It's Chiana and Shirley.
All 8 puppies have their homes, at least temporarily. Ashton Jolliker and his mom Jillian were the first to pick up their pups. It's the first time fostering for this family, which already has 1 dog and 2 cats.
As a family visited Puerto Rico and we loved it there, and you do see dogs everywhere. They're everywhere, so we wanted to help.
Don't tell your mom, but are you going to try to get her to keep these guys?
Yeah.
In many cases, the families that foster kittens and puppies do end up adopting them as well, according to the shelter there. And for more information about the Waterville area shelter, how you can help them out, which they always definitely need, there's a link in our story, which is on the Now section of our website, so check it out. All right, so imagine this. You're walking to the bus stop and you see the bus quickly approaching behind you, and then it's a race. Will you make it to the bus stop on time?
I've been there before. Anyone who uses public transportation knows the feeling and can really appreciate this Good Samaritan. Take a look.
Are you trying to make the bus? Oh no, go the bus? So he was given a ride, I believe, to get to the actual bus stop in time. So I think that gentleman picked him up and kind of helped him to get there so he didn't miss his bus.
How sweet is that? It's a little risky if you ask me, but
when you've been the person running to the bus, as the bus is there, you know what that feels like.
Right, so you can't miss the bus, especially if you're on a tight schedule.
That's right.
Okay, do you have any plans to enjoy a cold beer this holiday weekend, or maybe take the boat out on the water? Well, just don't do both at once, because the game wardens will find you. That story next.
And you are going to need some sunscreen this weekend because it's going to be a scorcher. Full forecasts coming up.
Oh, Keith.
It's only one particular beach. All right.
Wait, what beach?
We all know.
So, guys, starting today, it's heightened security and enforcement weekend, otherwise known as Operation Dry Water. And that is basically to make sure people are not boating under the influence It's a year-round campaign across the whole nation, but this weekend alone, law enforcement everywhere, Maine, Massachusetts, anywhere, Florida, they're going to be out on the water,
Coast Guard,
rivers, lakes, ponds, the ocean, in full force, like heightened patrols to just make sure people aren't drinking and driving, just like on the roads. And so I got a pretty cool experience today. I got to go out with a game warden in Saco, actually in Dayton, but we went on the Saco River, and we actually ran into some kids who were jumping from rope swings. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Sure.
I did too. It's a lot of fun. Side note, this game warden used to be on Northwoods Law, the show, so a lot of people recognized him, and he said one time a group of kids did dare him to jump, so he did.
Nice.
Yeah. It was scary. Like, I couldn't believe how high up some of these kids were.
Yeah.
But they were brave.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me nervous. And it's not, if you're on the boat and you're doing everything properly, then good for you, but then you have to worry about what everybody else is doing too. So,
right.
You know, somebody's not doing everything properly, or they may be under the influence and they start heading right towards you. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
There's actually one 4th of July. I was sitting on the beach with my family. We were ready to watch the fireworks, and we saw this boat coming closer and closer to shore. My parents said, "Get out of the way." Minutes, maybe not even minutes, seconds later, it was up on shore, went right up where we were just sitting. And it was just a case of boating under the influence.
Yeah.
If my parents weren't paying attention on the beach, then that could have been very unfortunate.
It's true. Let's just show the puppy story again.
I know.
Puppies.
Those puppies are so cute.
Yep, that was fun.
Did they fly them
puppies.
back here?
They arrived this morning. I didn't actually ask how they got here.
I wonder.
When it's this hot outside, there's no better way to spend the day than out on the water. But when you're boating and there's alcohol involved, there can be deadly consequences.
You'll see extra patrols on the water this weekend, and we tagged along with the Maine Warden Service on the Saco River.
Oh, you have them.
This is Eric Blanchard's office.
You got any fish on board?
For 19 years and counting.
Oh, good. Excellent. License is fine. You got one, we're good. Have fun.
We went along as he patrolled the Saco River in Dayton.
I've seen several boats just run aground completely, just off into the woods. You name it, I've probably seen it, or it's happened. I've been in Southern Maine my whole career.
He says of all the crashes he's seen, there's one common denominator: alcohol.
That's when boats crash, and that's when people drown.
Alcohol is the leading known contributing factor in fatal boating accidents, according to a recent report from the U.S. Coast Guard. It found there were more than 650 boating deaths in 2017. While that number is down from the year before, it was the second highest number on record in the last 5 years. That's why Blanchard and law enforcement across the nation are increasing patrols this weekend. It's called Operation Dry Water, to raise awareness about the dangers of boating under the influence.
It's the same standard as it is in a motor vehicle. It's a .08.
Before he was a game warden, Blanchard was a police officer. He says although the OUI laws are similar for the road and water, out here, there's an added challenge.
When you arrest them, you immediately put them in the cruiser and they're safe. It's over, basically. As soon as they get in the car, out here you arrest somebody. Now you got it. Now you're responsible to make sure they don't drown.
And a lot of you asked some great questions earlier today on Facebook Live, so if you missed that, it's at our website and mobile app. And if you ever want us to look into something, you know to use the hashtag #AskNow.
Still thousands without power. Major thunderstorms blowing through this afternoon, mostly affecting northern Maine. Amara says the crews will be working and are working right now to help get the lights back on.
But it wasn't just thunder and rain. A viewer in Fort Kent sent us this video of hail falling on his porch. Thanks for John for sending this in.
It's a much different story in central Maine and farther south, because this is an image of what Diane in Quebec is calling a fog bow. I guess it's a rainbow left over after the fog rolls out. Is that what that is? I mean, can we have an early
it's
version
kind
of
a
rain
slang,
drops?
Kind of a slang term. Yeah, it scatters the light. The fog does the same way that rain does.
Nice.
But we have some thunderstorms out there right now as well.
A lot of our viewers have been weighing in on Facebook telling us that the thunderstorms
They've
were
got
there
some
now,
good downpours with them. That's probably what people are noticing. Let's have a look on the radar in a second. First, we'll start with how we got here, which is the heat and humidity drove the air up into the atmosphere. That's where the thunderstorms came from. The dew points are in the 60s and 70s, so extremely humid air for this part of the country at least. They see this quite a bit in the deep south, but it's humid for northern New England. There's your line of showers and thunderstorms. It's funny, they were very scattered before, pop up, and then they came across some sort of little trough here, and they're starting to congeal into a line right as they get to the coastline. So the coverage is actually higher now than it was. And as Lee and Lindsay mentioned, probably what people are talking about is some good downpours. One towards Sebago here, one just into Brunswick. That's a lot of lightning and some heavy downpours there. And then this whole line is collapsing towards the coastline. So most of down East Maine will see these thunderstorms come through, and relatively clean behind that. So not severe, but something to watch through the rest of tonight. They're out of here though by midnight tonight, probably out of here by 8 or 9 realistically. By tomorrow morning, we're partly cloudy to mostly sunny, and it starts warming up quickly. That again destabilizes the atmosphere. Showers and thunderstorms start popping up in the afternoon, and we might have some strong ones roll through late day into the early evening in the mountains of Maine and western Maine. We'll keep an eye on that. After that, another warm day on Sunday into the 90s inland, mid-80s along the immediate coastline, and we just keep rolling with the heat into next week. Severe weather risk is formally introduced by the Storm Prediction Center, which puts us in kind of a mid-range risk to the mountains tomorrow, so we'll keep an eye on that. There could be some hail, some straight line winds are probably the most likely issue late tomorrow afternoon. Location though, over the next week or so, there'll be some big differences. On Sunday it'll be mid-80s along the coast, 90s inland. Monday's the biggest swing, around 90 inland, probably upper 70s along the coastline with a gnarly sea breeze. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, it doesn't matter where you are, hot everywhere. It's just a matter of ridiculously hot or just normally hot on Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday as well. So that's kind of how it plays out. I really think Monday's the biggest swing day because I'm actually watching some fog along the coastline. So inland, again, near 90. And look at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hot, hot. Some spots have the possibility of being 90 or above for 5 days straight as you head farther inland. Along the coastline, we do vary. Again, Monday's upper 70s to low 80s. It gets warm for all of us towards the 4th of July, though. Jess, I thought you put the fireworks in. I thought, what happened? Un-American. Just un-American, Jess. No, we were joking about it because I said I didn't care, and then I was like, actually, we should put the
Hey, we still got a few more days to throw those fireworks in there.
We'll get them in at 5:30.
I still got a few days to get the AC and to get the thunder vest for my dogs.
The AC needs to be like today, though.
Yeah. I got way in front of that one. Thank you very much, sir. Some state legislators say they don't need the DHHS commissioner in order to start finding certain solutions to Maine's child welfare challenges.
Government Oversight Committee co-chair Senator Roger Cates announced yesterday that the committee plans to subpoena the head of DHHS for failing to show up to a meeting regarding 2 recent child deaths.
Now, earlier this week, we told you about delays on the Maine Child Abuse Intake Hotline and the staffing levels. We asked Senator Cates yesterday if he feels the staffing levels are appropriate.
But we've heard numerous stories about people calling that hotline, having to stay on the phone for 30, 45, 60 minutes before it's answered, in one case never getting answered. I mean, clearly, if the system's going to work and people call a hotline, someone's going to be on the other end of that phone and answer the call.
Cates says that they plan to issue a survey to Child Protective Service workers to see if they feel they're getting enough training and support in their jobs. If you missed any of our special discussion last night, Protecting Maine's Children, please check out our website and hear the testimony from the experts on how we can fix the child welfare system in our state. Very, very important.
All right, a lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Let's check in with Cindy Williams for a preview. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. A day at the beach sounds great. A day at the beach surrounded by trash? Not so much. The litter problem is so bad at one beach in Maine that the town is talking about shutting the beach down just when it's getting really hot. And a shootout between state police tactical units and an armed man. How police eventually forced him to come out. That's all coming up next at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much. Keith is back with Brain Drops when we come back.
What's up, Kentucky?
Ooh, Kentucky!
The Bluegrass State.
The Bourbon Trail.
Thunder.
Have you ever done the Bourbon Trail?
Lightning and the thunder.
I love a good thunderstorm. Do you guys like the thunder?
If it weren't for my dogs, I would. My
Yeah.
dogs hate it. No,
Yeah.
like legit scared, shaking.
Even the big
They'll go
ones?
to the bathroom. No, especially the big ones. They all hate it.
Really?
They hate fireworks and they hate thunderstorms. So
Oh, fireworks is another
therefore,
level.
like 4th of July is the worst day for any dog owner.
Yeah.
Because the dogs flip. Like not even controllable flip. Like they just flip. Something, it sets them off. and
Right.
It's just
Do you guys?
awful.
Does anybody out there know of like a natural medicine you can give dogs to calm them down during that? You do?
Yeah, I mean, we use some for our rescue dog out of Mississippi.
Oh, wait, we took a
they're the
picture of it when we were at your
yeah,
house.
the calming, and those are natural.
That's natural?
Yeah, I don't.
I think I gotta get some of that.
That doesn't help her. Like it doesn't sedate her. I mean, it's
Right,
just
right.
like
It's
when
just to, like,
the
calm her
fireworks
down
go
a little
off.
bit.
She's still going to be annoyed. So
Yeah.
it's really made me dislike fireworks immensely.
Right.
So it's
Tito
like where
can't
I get
handle
annoyed because
fireworks.
my whole family gets disrupted because of fireworks.
Right.
Hey, Rachel, do you have this next?
In Dayton.
Okay, because it looked like Buxton.
And when people do it in your neighborhood, that's the worst. Sorry. Sound like the old fireworks Scrooge guy, but it's true.
Rachel, can I see what the order you have here is?
Did you fix the fireworks yet?
Yeah.
Sure. No.
Whoa, your soup's tall. Are we switching places?
Yeah, I'm just going to stand here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, then what?
Look at little Lindsay, everyone.
I'm not seeing anything when you say that.
Should I stand on this? Do I need this?
Well, I can't see preview.
Thunder.
Blueberry files.
Feel the thunder.
You don't have the definition I gave you?
What are you guys doing
Oh,
this
there you
weekend?
go. Yes.
Chilling?
Sweating.
Okay,
Sweating.
so tag word, then the text,
Yeah, hang
then
on.
that graphic.
Yeah, I know.
Stand by.
There's no good place for me. I either block Lindsay or I block the screen.
Stand by.
For brain drops, which I encourage greatly. Not just for trolling me, you can occasionally ask me questions as well.
That's why we're here.
Beautiful clouds today. Can you tell me why many clouds look flat on the bottom? And Cake McParty, which I think is her real name, asked me this. Okay, let's talk about what this is. This is the exact term, the meteorological term for it. Lifted condensation level, or LCL, is defined as the height in which the relative humidity of an air parcel will reach 100% with respect to the liquid water when it's cooled by dry adiabatic lifting.
I was concerned about this word
Yes.
here. I don't know how I
Okay.
would say that if I ever saw
Here's
that for
what
the first time.
Here's what all of that means. Basically, when you heat the ground up, you've got these parcels of air that are warm and less dense than surrounding air. They start rising, okay? Let's go to our graph if we can. They start rising up. They'll keep rising and they'll cool. Adiabatic simply means a normal air parcel without any interaction around it. How will it cool as it rises? Okay, so that's what that stands for. And there's an exact number for how much you'll lose Celsius as it goes up. So as it cools, it gets easier and easier to get to 100% humidity. The reason for that is you're getting closer and closer to the dew point, right? Say the dew point's 70 and that air parcel is 85. Well, now it's 83, and now it's 80, now it's 75, and when it gets to 70, it's 100% saturated, and that's where it can start to form a cloud. From there on out, cloud, 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 and then eventually you hit the top of the atmosphere. You can't raise that parcel anymore. That's the end of the cloud. So when you see this in the atmosphere, you see these very flat bottom clouds like this, right? It's very flat. That's where that LCL is. And then everything above that is just that air rising as it's condensing. And some days it's a little bit cleaner than others as far as when the cloud bottoms are. But on a day like today, the reason you noticed it more is because the clouds are vertical. There's a lot of buoyancy in the air. So rather than just, you know, if you look up and it's totally cloudy, you wouldn't notice it was flat necessarily, right? But when it's flat and the rest of it's vertical, days like this, and you see it a lot in Florida almost every day.
Do you think something like this would confuse flat earthers?
Yes, I think the word flat confuses them in general.
But does every cloud start flat and then kind of some hold it and some morph into?
Right, based on the conditions. So on a stratus day when it's rainy, the cloud is flat here, but there's not as much depth to it. But and there can be days with different levels of clouds, but that's the basic premise for why it happens.
Okay.
We got some science.
I just learned so much. I need to go decompress.
Lifting.
While I go decompress, News Center Meeting 5:30.
Yeah, go
we'll
watch
take it away.
Don't be cloudy about that.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Enjoy. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Thank you.